Aloha, everybody. Aloha, Ramona. I am Dasha, and today I'm interviewing the beautiful, amazing goddess that goes by the name Ramona. She has transformed many, many lives, and today I want to showcase her gift because to me, she is success. Success can come in any shape, way, or form. It could be internal, external, whatever it means is super individualistic. And Ramona, to me, is a super successful woman. So let's step into her mind, see how she discovered this internal success. And today she's going to share with us the connection between the brain, the heart, and the gut. Is that right?
Yeah, just kind of introduce the idea that we have more than one brain.
Yay! Awesome. Well, I'm super, super, super excited. And thank you so much for doing this last minute. And welcome to this virtual show. We're here to inspire people to transform their lives to live a better life, whichever way we can, right? With our words, our actions.
Awesome.
So let's go back to the start. Tell us a little bit about Ramona and how Ramona discovered who she is.
I love that you said she goes by the name Ramona because I never had any other name. I was just like, oh, I never thought about that choice. We have so many choices, don't we?
Oh, we do. And it's so easy to change your name if you want to.
Right. That's the only name I know. So anyways, you asked how I began on my spiritual journey. I actually started really super young because I was sickly as a child, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital, like to the point where I felt like I lived there. And we actually moved from Japan to the United States because I was sick and I couldn't take the weather. And I lived in this oxygen area, controlled area, was a crib, and it had, the ventilation and everything. And people are like, oh my God, you're a bubble child.
Oh my God.
I didn't think of it that way, but I actually lived.
Wow.
I actually lived like that. So we ended up moving to a climate that was perfect for my condition. So we left Japan and moved to America.
Wow.
So English is a second language for me, which most people would not, suspect that. I went to first grade speaking only Japanese.
Wow.
But, the part where I had to live in the hospital wasn't happening anymore, but I still didn't have very good control over my health. And I was constantly, I felt like I lived at the doctor's office, getting shots, getting tests, having emergencies, ambulance and all that. And I remember there was a turning point. I think I was about, it was 7 or 8. And I was rushed to the hospital in ambulance, and they put me on this table. And for some reason, they gave a lot of x-rays at that time for what my condition was. And they put me on this ice cold metal table. And I was a really young child. And I had these button down pajamas on, and they opened the pajamas. So I'm under this light, and I'm all bare on this cold table. It was really, really vulnerable. And when your system isn't right, you get weird sores and stuff. So I had these really chapped lips. And somebody had the audacity to put that picture in the newspaper.
What?
Yeah, I was just I can't believe, nothing's going on in that town, obviously, but I was in the newspaper. And so someone had sent us the hard copy, big 8.5 by 11. I'm like, that is effing not me. That is not, I do not accept that. It was terrible.
How old were you?
I was only 8 years old. So I was really emotionally determined to change the project, what was happening. This is not going to be me anymore. And so up until that point, I don't think I had been introduced to church, maybe by my relatives in America, but they live really far away. And I started to go to church by myself. And my brother and my mom didn't go, but they were very supportive. And so I kind of found the spiritual world,
Do you remember what your condition was called?
Well, I had asthma. and
Asthma.
allergies. And it was,
It
it was just like
was
an
a severe.
immunity breakdown, autoimmune breakdown. But the result, the outcome was, the asthma attack, not being able to breathe, reacting to everything in the environment. So, you're just allergic to like 101 things.
Wow. So
Yeah,
what age were you when you started going to church by yourself?
I was about like right after that happened. I'm like, this is just not acceptable. What I'm in right now is not working for me. So I basically was really stuck in that medical model, which obviously was necessary to save my life and bring some, the medication that I needed and stuff like that. But I knew there was something more that I was missing. And so I went on this little journey by myself, starting at 8 years old. But my whole life has just been about like journeying toward how can I improve my immune system. And at this day and age, it's kind of like an afterthought. Like I don't even think about being sick anymore. But I realized that, so much of my life was like geared toward that. How can I be better? How can I feel better? How can I get off these allergy pills? How can I quit having these seasonal attacks? So even when I was better, like not in the hospital anymore, still had some recurring, problems. Like you're susceptible when you have asthma as a child. Sometimes you're more susceptible to things in the air and stuff like that. So my objective has always just been, how do I stay well? How do I feel good? How do I allow my body to be at homeostasis? And so the church thing was part of it, but it wasn't all of it. It was just sort of like the introduction that I actually could ask for support, that I could, internally think about what I really wanted as an outcome and ask for that. And so it was just like part of the journey. And having lived in Japan and the United States, I was exposed to a lot of extreme, like East versus West, like everything was done differently. The treatments were differently, everything was thought of differently. So I'm kind of glad about that, because I think that's allowed me to, I just don't get really dogmatic into how things are done. The point is just like, hey, find a way that worked for you, baby. So I try not to get like, this is the way you do it, this is my way, this is the best way, everything else is terrible. So I try to just kind of leave those biases out and help and support people where they believe they can be successful and how they can be successful. And so
what age did you guys move to the US?
I was 6 years old, yeah, or maybe a little bit earlier, because I went to first grade at 6, and that's when I was.
So you went to first grade here in the US?
Yeah.
Okay, and wait, did you start going to church in Japan or here in the US?
No, not in Japan at all. In fact, I was exposed to a lot of, the Buddhisms. Has like these ceremonies and stuff, and so that was still a part of my life even when I was going to church. And my mother wasn't very good at explaining about like things in your environment. She'd just like take us, and we'd be in the background playing while they would be doing their thing, like chanting, and so I got to witness a lot of it without understanding it. But that whole East meets West, I love that there was like two approaches, going on at the same time.
So then what happened? Did you continue going to church, or you started doing your own thing?
No, I think I just sort of like, I really love the spiritual basis there that they taught, but I kind of just researched everything, like positive mindset. I moved into nutrition and like how to take care of your body.
So this is you in your teens, and you're already like, whoo, exploring all these things.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I was very much into, reading and understanding. And I have nothing against like people who believe that going to the doctor is going to get them well and all that stuff, but it just wasn't working really for me. Like part of it was really that whole mindset thing where I had to learn to relax. Like if you've ever had trouble breathing, you have to figure out how you're going to get that next breath. A lot of it is not just physical. Yeah, you have to use your mind. So it was a blessing in a way because now I'm 56 years old. I don't have medication. I don't require constant medical care, and it's just not my norm, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, my norm is
Wow.
healthfulness and happiness.
So would you say that as a result of something that you thought was maybe like a curse in the beginning of your life has actually turned out to be a blessing? Because of that, you've opened yourself up to understanding life and kind of reached for answers where other people wouldn't have at this young of an age unless they were faced with something so dramatic and crazy like being in the hospital every day. Would you say
I think mainly it kind of formed this. Maybe I've always been like this, like maybe it was like this before I was born, but I've always had a deep gratitude for being able to do things. You know, so like a lot of times in high school, I did the same sort of, you know, exploratory things in high school that everybody, the bad kids do.
Yeah. But
So I'm not saying I was
slightly
perfect.
more conscious, right? But you were
Well,
more
I just had a sense of gratitude, you know?
oh,
A sense of gratitude. So like even though we were partying and doing things we shouldn't have been doing, drinking, stuff like that, I still, you know, wanted to exercise my body. It's like, oh, you know, I still wanted to run every day. I still like I had such a deep gratitude that I could, you know? I
yeah.
think that's kind of carried with me always is just like, well, I can, so that's awesome, right? So I should
Yeah.
and I will.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's awesome. So today you wanted to share a little bit about the connection between the three minds. How did you come to this realization before you share that information? Were you taught by somebody, or did you read books or watch videos? How did you discover that the body is made up of more than just one mind?
Well, the path, the spiritual path led on to like a lot of studying, and I went along the regular, like went to college, had a corporate career and all that. And at the same time I was doing the, you know, studying the physical stuff, the nutrition, the physical fitness. And I really got deeply into nutrition and really wanted to figure out the whys and hows and thinking, oh, you know, these people that know the personal training and the nutrition are keeping a secret from me, right? I just had this idea that there was something
What
missing.
do they know that I don't know? I must find out.
Right. And so, you know, you pay for school and you get education and all that. And during that evolution, I realized that so much of my need to know all that was based on not being enough. So I started to figure out that it was based on something I was chasing that was going to complete me in my mind, right? I'm still the same worthy, lovable, capable person, but the driver was you're not enough, you're not enough, you don't know enough, you got to do more, this isn't enough, blah 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 blah.
Always chasing this invisible goal.
Yeah,
And
and
when
it's
you get there, there's another, and there's another, and there's another.
yeah, it's like this piece of unworthiness underneath it all, right?
Because we carry it with us, no matter what cover up we use. It's still there. Like new situation, new circumstance, still there, still there, still there.
So that's when I began to like gather all the knowledge that I was missing. I finally figured out, well, no, it's your belief system that's all out of whack. It's not what you're missing, you know?
Because we haven't been programmed to believe in ourselves.
So I dove deeply into this, you know, belief system work. And it's like, I received the work myself in training, and it just flipped my life completely. So I've been on a different trajectory since then. I still love health and fitness nutrition, but I actually changed the whole nature of my business to work with the belief systems. And in that process, I had, you know, teachers from Italy and coming over from France, and I would meet them in Portland, Oregon. And one of the teachers that came over from France said, well, I have this other thing I wanted to teach you. Can you come back? And we hadn't really planned on it. It was like we just did a 4-day training. And says it has to do with the heart. And I had in my mind, you know, I do want to learn about the heart. Like I had heard about heart math and it was intriguing. And so I said, well, I kind of was interested in heart math. If you think this is along those lines, then I'll come back. And so I went through this training, and I was like um, of the first dozen people in the United States that went through this training. It's called multiple brain integration technique.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so much fun because we all know we have a head brain. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We know, and we think that the head brain kind of operates the whole body and everything. And now the language is moving toward, people are going, oh no, you have to lead with your heart. Like, what is that about? And people are trying to feel into their body and go, wow, what is heart about? It's about connection and communication and collaboration. And so now there's a whole nother world opening up when you look at the heart, and they're having this conversation. And then you learn that there's also a gut brain, and the gut brain is like the intuitive brain. It's where your intuition comes from, and also your self-preservation. So like the oldest organism, the most evolved organism, started out with just knowing what to move toward and what to move away from. So that's kind of like intuition and self-preservation. And, you know, with this brain dominant society that we have, we kind of stopped listening to that voice.
Yeah, we listen because it's louder than everything else.
Yes, it's louder and it's quicker
Yeah.
and more developed. So everything that we've been taught leads to like bettering the neck and up.
Because our entire life we've been listening to this, and we haven't learned how to listen to the other two. So that's why it's so hard to learn something so new when we're
so it's also the systems, like the institutions, and like maybe it's different around the world, but not so much in the United States. It's very neck up, like everything is training, you know, to go to work for somebody else, to do your job, this is all very neck up. It's like, how does it balance on a balance sheet? Like that's not an answer to a question when you're dealing with, you know, feeding children in schools. The balance sheet shouldn't be the determiner. So when you bring that down to different parts of your body and use these literal brains, you start to open up to a more, you know, beneficial way. Like you're now looking at that empathy and compassion that ought to be included in decision making, right?
Yes.
And then you're also, people are good at following their intuition and their gut, but not as good as recognizing that it's there, right? And that it can be developed just like we so strongly developed our head brains. So these brains,
it takes time. It takes time to get this thing to quiet down a little bit. So then
and we want to balance too.
Yeah.
We want to balance. So we don't want to just like say, oh, we'll just cut off our head and never use our head brain again. You know, we want to balance. There are times when we need that head brain, that logic, that you know, systematic understanding and creativity to play a role. So what you really want to do is align the three. So in the multiple brain integration technique, that's the conversation is facilitating. The conversation is going, what does the heart feel about that? What does the head think? You know,
so this is called multiple brain integration technique.
Right. And it's a really fun way to work with people because I never really, like, people think, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I say coach sometimes just because people don't understand what I do, but it's not what I do. I facilitate. I don't coach because I don't tell people what to do and what comes up next. I facilitate them to where it comes out of them. Like their wisdom is there. I just facilitate the emerging of it and make sure that they're including the parts of their body that are so intelligent.
Because it's true. Nobody can tell you what to do. You have to experience it and feel it for yourself to really transform and be able to tap into that.
Well, the action actually comes from the gut. And so oftentimes you'll find yourself in this scenario, just because I think most people will connect with this, I'll say, at a job you hate. It's all head brain. Like, how can you motivate somebody at a job they hate? You have to go deeper into the body and figure out what motivates that person. And the motivation comes at a gut level. And it's really fun to work with entrepreneurs, because oftentimes, you know, we're all trained, as I said, neck up. But if you can work with an entrepreneur and help them find those deeper knowings of what they're trying to create and pursue, the action becomes natural. You know, I think we fight as entrepreneurs.
Do you think the question is then what, or is it why?
It's I don't know, noun, what sounds like a noun. Why? Not so much. It's more of a doing. It's more of an action. It's like the difference between love and loving. Like, love on its own, you can't pick it up. It's not a noun. Loving is what we do in the world, is what we do for each other, is what we do for ourselves.
Yeah, loving has definitely a higher vibration. I could feel it when you said it.
It actually, when you use the ing terms, it actually ignites a different part of your brain that's action oriented. And so that's the problems that entrepreneurs and coaches and spiritual seekers might get into, is that they know a lot of stuff, but the action to put it out into the world is not there, right?
Do you think that it's a terminology that we ought to change, like I am loving instead of I am love?
Well, I am loving is definitely an action. Yeah. You see, it's a nominalization of a word when you just change it into a noun, and that's not the value of it. The value of it is in the doing it. Like compassion, right?
Is putting you in the driver's seat, actually.
Compassioning toward others is a whole different ballgame, right?
Yes.
So that's where the coaching comes in, is that you're moving people to action by getting in touch with what moves them at a gut core level. That's inspiration. That gets you moving without having to just have all that logic behind it, right? Like, logic is good. You have a plan, you make a list, you follow it, whatever. But to have a list can freeze you. Yeah, it can freeze you if you're not in touch with what's at the deeper level, right? Why it's important, what it brings, like what we bring to the world. So I think most spiritual people have a belief that we can make this world a better place, right? So we don't want to just keep collecting knowledge. We want to do the things, loving, compassioning, following up on action lists.
Acting, speaking.
Right. Yeah. So even with the health and nutrition, like, everybody knows how to eat healthy, right? What stops you from eating healthy is not the knowledge.
It's the doing of it.
It's the actual applying it, right? So having all the knowledge in the world, when we get stuck in the head, it's like, well, I need to hire her because she knows more than this person, and that doctor knows this, and their beliefs are this. We start judging everything based on how much knowledge or training or education or letters they have, when actually it's something not the knowledge that's missing, it's the action that's missing.
It's something that comes from the past, right? Like our parents were like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You're not like this guy, so who's going to trust you with this? So it's all of these voices that we've accumulated.
Yeah, so we're talking about sort of a wheel. Okay, so there's like a beliefs, thoughts, attitudes, actions, and outcomes. So let's just say that's a wheel, right? So your beliefs will drive your actions and outcomes.
Right.
And your actions are driven by your beliefs.
Right.
And your thoughts and attitudes are what just, this wheel keeps going.
Mhm.
So when I was studying the beliefs, I thought, well, that's the beginning and end of everything, which I still think it's a really powerful place to work. Let's change those underlying beliefs to I am enough, to I do deserve love, to I am worthy. But then as I got into the multiple brain integration technique, I learned more about you can kind of jump into the wheel anywhere, right? It doesn't have to just be at the belief system,
Uh,
right? The thoughts and
Interesting.
attitudes might be like the repetitive actions and affirmations that make you think differently. See,
Yes, their daily rituals. Yeah.
right? So the outcomes are determined by all of those things together. But you don't have to just, that's where the dogma comes in. Like you don't, like I really believe for a while, it's like you have to go right to the core of the belief, which ultimately is a super powerful, quick, efficient way to deal with where your life is now, is to deal with those beliefs. But there are also other ways.
Like, what do you believe is really possible for you?
Yeah, and you think about it, and it's a head game thing, right? But you got to be able to believe it deeper into the core of who you are. And the core is sometimes very much on a subconscious level. And that's why belief work is so expedient and helpful, because we can talk and think and make lists without even knowing what that part of us actually believes.
Well, I'm totally guilty of this. I mean, I compare myself to Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, and I'm like, until I am that good at speaking, I should probably keep preparing. But it's like everyone is like, you're great. You're going to mess up. That's part of life. They've been doing it for 30 years. Like, why are you sitting here comparing yourself? I mean, you're Dasha. You're going to create your own story. Whatever is going to come out of what you're doing is where you're going to be led. You're not a Tony
That's
Robbins.
your head.
You're not Oprah Winfrey. You're Dasha. You're Ramona.
That's your head. That's your head judging, right?
And then I'm sitting, preparing to get ready, preparing to get ready, preparing to get ready. Like all of these resources, all this knowledge, all these people. All right, like I'm still getting ready. I'm still getting ready.
So move it down a little bit
Mhm.
and find that piece where you connect, right? So out of the judgment and more into, I'm in front of these people to connect with them. It makes all the difference in the world of how that audience perceives you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that?
Yes.
So with the stories, that's connective, right? And the intention to connect is so much different. When you're in the head, your intention is that judgment piece where you're comparing yourself to Oprah or Tony Robbins. But in the heart, it's more like you do so well with connecting people, right?
Yeah,
Right? You care about people, right?
I do. I really do.
Yeah, so isn't that a little bit more of a powerful place to come from than I know more than you, right?
Yeah, it's an intention. Like, what's your intent? I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, and that's fine.
And let's even bring it down a little bit further for you, Dasha, is put your hand on your stomach or below your navel. I think you'll find that your core aches to let some words come from you, but there's a deeper reason for you to, you write your book, you want to share your spiritual message, you want people to have peace in their lives. There's something deeper than just connecting. It has to do with who you are and why you're here.
I remember the kind of angry person that I used to be, and how I blamed everybody for my circumstances, and I thought that I was alone in the head. And now that I know how connected I am to all things and how everybody's here to really help me, genuinely. And every day somebody's like, what can I help you with? What can I help you with? Because I feel this love that's pouring out of my heart, and I want people to feel it too, because it is unbelievable. It is so amazing. It's like being in mom's belly all over again, like swimming in mom's belly 24/7, like a permanent meditation. Everything is vibrant. Life is just great, and everything is easy. And things that are happening to me are not even my money sometimes. Like it's like, because I've opened the heart and I'm not afraid anymore. And I want to deliver that message because I feel it in every bone of my body.
So isn't that a much more powerful place to connect with before you go like on a stage or to share with others? Can you see how much more at peace you are and grounded? You're not eager to get that word out. You're more in it. Do you feel that?
I didn't know what I was about to say. It's just coming out.
But just physically, everything about you has changed from about 5 to 10 minutes ago.
No, you're right. You're right.
Can you feel it? It's a strength.
I feel like I'm a lot more grounded now. I feel like
because now you're more in touch with the rest of you who has that deep need to connect, to share your caring, right? Your loving.
The little mama bear instinct.
Yeah, so it's all good. It's like no judgment into like we need the head brain to support us and help us and guide us. But it's just we put so much emphasis on it in our society that we leave a lot of people behind, like the louder, the faster the person is, we think they're powerful. But there's also a power in that quiet connecting and that peaceful, calm sharing. So there's power in both.
I feel it really, really like shifts in my body that is kind of gone from here and like down and like very calm now.
Yeah, so the facilitation process is more than that, but you can see the beautiful effect of it, right? So what we would do is to take like a decision or something and run it through the multiple brains. And then all of a sudden this ease and grace of what was once a very difficult decision to make also becomes like, oh, well, now that's easy, right? Because you've got in touch with the deeper parts of you that can help guide your decisions and allows that wisdom to come out.
Because you're no longer operating here. Now you're operating deep inside yourself, from your gut, from your heart, from right here. Which is,
well, you want to integrate the three of them. So, this little conversation, how just say that it's possible, right? And it's going to say that we have different strengths and things that we do with our gut, our heart, and our head. And so the kinds of conversations that you can have with me will help you to develop those other brains and to recognize them when they're speaking to you and to get in touch with them.
Wow.
Yeah, so the one thing I'd like to share with you is with your followers is that in order to get in touch with this deeper place of wisdom, it really is necessary to have that calm nervous system. So it's not so much a central nervous system, it's the automatic nervous system, which is putting you into fight or flight or parasympathetic. But we want to go right down the middle of those two. And so the way you do that is you do breathing, balanced breathing. You breathe in for 6 seconds and you breathe out for 6 seconds. So you think about just expanding 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So this puts you right in the middle, so you're not over dominant on either side. And this is where some of that really good, powerful decision making can come from. Can you feel the centeredness?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so when you find yourself in a situation that you don't like, no one really needs to know what's happening. You know, we think everyone expects us to respond right away or to act up or to, you know, just do the breathing. Nobody knows you're doing it.
I know. Usually people don't do their hand gestures like I do, and I'm like, ah, ah.
But even if you are, they're not noticing because they're in their own head, right? I just subtly move my fingers. You know, my fingers are on my legs, and I'll just go like, it's kind of like a counting, you know? So no one needs to see it, and if they do, that's fine. But it just kind of brings you back to that centered, so we don't act out in anger. We don't act out in, you know, sometimes people fold instead of anger. They, you know, freeze up. It just kind of helps us be in that place where we're more wise.
Instead of going like this, we're going like this.
Yeah, so we're quieting the mind. We're letting the heart and the gut play in. You know, they're slower than the head, so we got to give them time to grasp.
So what you're saying is, if we take deep breaths before we react unconsciously, we're actually taking in oxygen and giving our heart and our gut time to process what just happened instead of unconsciously react.
Exactly. So we're changing something that's a habit. So we're all creatures of habit, and we're not consciously acting. We're just like, okay, this triggered me and this is what I do, right? But with this conscious act of breathing, now we're opening up a space where instead of being unconscious and incompetent, we now can move our place to conscious. We may still be incompetent, but at least we're aware, right?
Yeah, because now when we react, we come from a place of awareness and not a
conscious
automatic response.
And then the next level, so this is training your brain. See, people want this to happen in an instant, but brains, you know, develop and they connect and they make new connection, you know, so they develop. So you can move from the unconscious incompetent to the conscious incompetent, and then you can move to conscious competency. Right? So now you're doing it, but you have to think about it. You can do it now, but you have to think about it. Now, the ideal situation is when you're not having to think about it anymore.
But conscious competency is when you have mastered the breathing and you know.
There's a next level. There's a next level.
Now you're aware because you are aware of being aware.
So you're conscious and you're confident. So you're making the choices. The highest level to that is when you're unconsciously competent.
Now you're just competent all the time.
This is how you train. Yeah, this is how you train that system, right? So you start with not knowing, and then you start with not even have to think about it, and it's working for you.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm doing it in a lot of my things without even realizing it now.
It's a fun thing to follow. I think I have the diagram on my website. I'm not sure. I hope so. But I do have the wheel on my website that talks about, you know, beliefs, thoughts, actions, attitudes, and outcomes, how they're connected.
Oh my God, I love that. And where did you learn all this stuff?
Well, it's through the modalities that I studied and got certified for, and Psych-K, PSYCH-K, is the one that's all about beliefs, and it's also about balancing the left and the right brain. And then the multiple brain integration technique is sort of like neurolinguistics programming, but they've taken it a step further and included the heart and the brain, or the heart and the gut.
You are blowing my brain right now. I had no idea. You were just like, woo!
So the point is that there's just tools out there. There's tools out there, and that there's choices to be made in so many areas of our life where we don't realize it, right? Because we're on automatic, or we're in a hurry, or we're just unconsciously moving through things.
What you're saying is we have a lot more choices than we realize about the way we live and our current circumstances.
Right. I think one of the things that probably attracted to us to each other when we first met is that we were both present, right? We were both like noticing each other, looking at each other. Even though the first time we met, we may only have interacted for 2 minutes, we truly connected. And that's the presence. That's the powerful presence of, turning off of that past, turning off worrying about what's happening next. And we just saw each other, right?
I see.
In the moment. And we had a really wonderful time meeting each other for the first time. And then we remained connected after that. So I really appreciate that about you.
Oh, I keep being drawn to you like a magnet. I can't control it.
So we have that in common, is that we were able to be present for one another in that moment. And then also when we ever see each other online or something, we praise the other person.
I know, and this is so cool. We're like, just like we don't live close to one another. And there's this cool thing that's called the internet. I know a lot of people think it's not beneficial, but look at how cool this is. Like, we're not bound in time, space, reality, and you've just like transformed my energy on a distance. How freaking cool.
It's so much fun to see what you're doing and what you're putting out there, and your intentions are so pure, and your ability to share your love is really nice. I appreciate it.
Well, I wouldn't be who I am without people like you that are solid already in their foundation, because I'm growing. I'm a baby, and now I'm barely walking. Sometimes I run, but most of the time I'm still walking, and I look up to you because you're flying.
It's not the truth. There's only really one thing we can rely on in life, and that's that everything changes. Everything's in a state of evolving and growing and decaying and starting over. So nobody's really above you. Nobody's more evolved than you. Everybody has the same struggles at a different level, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like, oh, she's arrived, I can't wait to get there, right? It's like we're all in this same soup of evolving, right?
Mix it up. Yeah, what I've come to the realization is all of my struggles are ones that I had chosen so I can learn about me, this world, this life.
And everybody has them. Yeah, you don't just wake up one day and free of everything. Like, what would life be without all of that?
Oh, you definitely wouldn't be able to appreciate things as much as you do.
Exactly. So you're exactly where you are supposed to be, right?
And so are you. Yes. And Ramona, I just want to say, I freaking love you. You inspire me beyond measures. I don't even know how to describe how powerful you are and how much you know. Now, if people want to reach out, do you do some, wait, you said no coaching.
Well, I do programs. I just don't call it coaching.
Oh, okay.
I do work with clients one-to-one, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how can
I just call it facilitating.
Facilitating. And how can anybody get in touch with you and learn how to integrate the three brains. And also you said you can help with the right and left hemisphere. Now, is there anything else that you can help out with?
I think the belief systems is a really big piece of it. Yeah. So that can be done, over 3 months' time. It can be done over a VIP session. I prefer to work with people 3 to 6 months at a time. Then you get to really help them develop into that next phase of who they're becoming or what they're trying to accomplish. But it's all like lined up on my website. It says enjoywithramona.com.
So that's enjoy, ENJOY with WITH, Ramona, RAMONA.
Right, enjoywithramona.com. They can get a recording on there that talks about where we got our beliefs.
Wow,
you're so powerful. But there's choices. Like people like to it was interesting when you and I first started talking. I kept saying that I was sick and da 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 da, and I never mentioned that I had asthma. And you're like, well, what was the problem? Like, I had asthma, and I didn't mention it till like 5 minutes in. It's because we put so much power into those words of diagnoses and stuff. And I try to just say, hey, that was just something that was happening, You don't want to attach your identity to the trauma that you've experienced or your identity to...
If you repeat it, then you give it power, right?
Well, you just don't want to attach that's my identity, right? That's who I am. It's like, no, it's just something you experienced.
Right.
So the trauma, the disease, the bad relationship, the being poor versus rich, being successful versus not, these are just states, right? They're not exactly who you are.
Right. But nowadays, everybody attaches a stigma, and some people are like, wait, are you in real estate, or are you an author, or are you doing TV show? And I'm like, I'm doing all of them, and I love it.
Yeah, so they're confused, but that doesn't have anything to do with you,
No, yeah.
So Dasha is Dasha, and Dasha's out in the world, and she has this mechanism that supports her financially to share what she's here on this earth to share, and it makes her more of a powerful person in her life because she doesn't have to worry about covering the rent and the car and the clothes that are needed to go out there and make an impact, right? You don't have to explain yourself to anyone, but I can see it perfectly that it fits together.
I love you. Yes, it's just what having a career and saving up some money does. It gives us time to learn how to believe in ourselves, because it gives us that time frame for us to really wrap up what we're doing until we can finally stand up and be like, I got this. And then abundance reigns in all shapes and forms.
And it really is, it's a way for you to be in the world too, right? So I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggling with their mission and their business model because they think that it has to be like all in that same, like you have to only serve your niche, right? We're all as entrepreneurs driven to serve that one type of person. And pretty soon you're just shrinking down. You're not even out in the world anymore. So I kind of like the fact that you're a spiritual person with a spiritual message. You're writing a book, but you're also using what you learn out there where you can make a bigger difference. We need people that are successful financially in the corporate world to guide some of these changes that we're going through. So everything is changing so quickly. We don't want to create a chasm between like the people that go to work for others and entrepreneurs, like the entrepreneurs being the spiritual ones. And you know what I mean? There's like this chasm. So what you want is people that are making difference in the world and using their businesses to benefit society, right? So you benefit society. Hold on, I got to do something real quick.
It's all good. Yeah, I mean that totally makes sense to me. Like, even in the real estate career, I'm starting to see how much I'm integrating, coming from the heart, like listening to people and speaking from the heart, like all the tools that I'm learning and I'm trying to teach others how to do it. I'm like, wait, okay, I gotta go into the real world and experiment with all of, all of these things. Because how can I tell you how to deal with people in business if I don't do it myself?
And what better service can you provide than helping someone match up to that perfect home environment for them?
I know. It's quite fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
It's just, it's a lot, you know, when you're doing multiple things, it feels like you have, you're always doing something, but at the same time, like, you're flowing. So it's like people are like, wait, like, come and hang out, and I'm like, I gotta do these things. So I guess I prefer this, the purpose, the mission, than hanging out.
Yeah, and then just try, like your enjoyment doesn't have to be their enjoyment, right? If it's
Yeah.
something you enjoy, it's that piece that says when you can go to work and not feel like you're working, like that's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. And Ramona, I'm on a mission, and maybe you will join. You'll join this amazing grand mission. I want to transform 7 billion lives for the better.
Nice.
And I'm learning how slowly get out of the way and let my body be a conduit and my voice be the voice of spirit. Wherever I need to be, what I need to do, I just want to learn how to get out of the way. And I would love it if you could join on that mission with me as well.
Yeah, I'm there for you. Yeah, I'm there for you.
I love you. I love you. And again, can you repeat your website for those watching that still want to connect with you?
It's Enjoy with Ramona. So it's my name, Ramona, and enjoy with, so that you have a happy life and you're productive and you can release those traumas and those beliefs that don't serve you. Just you can visit the website, you can listen to the recording. Also, you can contact me through my email. So it's my last name, Ramona Beville at me.com. My last name is Eville. But you can see that on the website as well, a way to contact me.
Cool. And if people want to reach out through Facebook, because we're going to upload it live, is that okay too?
Well, yeah, but you know what? I don't accept friends from people that don't have connections. So if I see that you're there, like we have a mutual friend, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Because there's like fake profiles or something. So if I see, oh, she knows Dasha, she knows so-and-so, then I'll say yes. But if I don't see any of those common connections, I'll usually say no. But I do have those kind of Facebook pages that are for business under enjoywithramona.com.
Ramona, I just want to say thank you. You are incredible. A goddess, a woman, and you're spreading your love and all of that knowledge, and I just appreciate it. So thank you very much. I love you. And it looks like her video got cut out, but hopefully she sees this. Really, really appreciate you. And hooray to us making this world a better place, one life at a time. Thank you all for watching. I am Dasha, and if you wish to be interviewed and inspire others about the gifts that you have learned and you want to share, or any kind of tools that you know that make this world a better place, let me know. I love you. Have a good day. Namaste.